We do know that things are changing very fast, whether it's climate or water shortages, soil erosion, population growth. Everything is moving fast, but I'm convinced the planet's going to be around for a while. The question of how bad things are is difficult to answer, but we do know that things are changing very fast, whether it's climate or water shortages, soil erosion, population growth. Everything is moving fast. And I don't think we realize how little time we have to turn these trends around. My own sense is that the water issue is going to emerge as a major issue in the very near future. Whether that's this year or 2 years from now is hard to say, but I think it's going to show up in food shortages. We now see water tables falling in countries that contain half the world's people, and the water tables are falling because of overpumping. So we're creating these food bubbles that I think are starting to burst, and it's going to. I think food is the first sector that's going to be affected by all of the environmental trends we're concerned about, from climate change to soil erosion, to the overpumping of aquifers and so forth. Well, we in the environmental community have been saying for some time that we need to save the planet, but I'm convinced the planet's going to be around for a while. The question is, will civilization, as we know it, be around? It is civilization that is now being threatened, and we see evidence of this in the increase in the number of failing states in the world. That list gets longer year by year, and it raises a troubling question of how many failing states before we have a failing global civilization. Probably the question I am asked more frequently than any other is, what can I do? I think people expect me to say, recycle your newspapers and change your light bulbs and so forth. These things are important, but it is more important that we change the system now, that we, for example, that we restructure the world energy economy, shifting from fossil fuels to renewable sources of energy. We need to stabilize world population sooner rather than later. And so, because it's the future of civilization that's at stake, and this is not a spectator sport. We can't just sit around and watch and hope someone else is going to do something. We all have to get involved in changing the system. We need to pick an issue like closing coal-fired power plants, or stabilizing world population, or developing a world-class recycling program in our community. Pick an issue and find some friends who share your concerns and go to work on it. We've seen in the United States in the last few years a powerful movement emerge to prevent the construction of new coal plants and to begin closing existing ones. And it doesn't involve millions of people. It's a few thousand people spread across the country, but it's having an enormous effect.